Welcome to Season 1 of the Nomadic Freelancer Podcast. This is a show for high-performing digital nomads. Together, we can learn how to identify what is essential, get the right things done, and enjoy the process. So I've been thinking recently that in order to succeed as a digital nomad, you need to develop a winning mindset. You know, I've been taking a lot of walks out in the nature here as we're boondocking in Sedona, Arizona. And in quiet nature, I have a lot of time to contemplate. And I've been thinking the last couple of days about mindset. You know, there is so much about this nomadic lifestyle that can cause us stress. And much of the tempering of that stress and making life better happens up here in the mind. So I want to talk about that today. I'm going to share with you my top 5 or 6 tips that I've learned through personal experience over the years in order to strengthen the mind, make it more resilient to stress factors in the external environments. And it is my personal experience. And so, you know, there's a lot of unknowns and unexpected situations that occur in this nomadic freelancing lifestyle. As a digital nomad, moving around, working remotely, living full-time in this trailer or your van or whatever you might be living in, you know, I don't probably have to tell you unless you're just getting started or want to. I want to help prepare you for it, that believe it, you know, there are a lot of unknown factors and unexpected circumstances that can come up. So we need to be ready up here in the mind. For example, with wind, when it comes to weather, wind has been hardcore over the last couple of weeks. I've seen it in other people's social medias, that any state you're in, there seems to be a lot of wind right now, and it can drive people crazy. It's a little weird when it's just hardcore gusts of wind all day long for days on end. In fact, I think I've been noticing a trend over the last couple of years that the wind situation has really increased. I don't recall it being like this earlier in my life. I don't know about you. So when it comes to weather, there's wind. Rain can really throw our mind off. It can make us gloomy a little bit. Also, heat is a big one for me too. When we're boondocking off grid like this, we don't have an AC in this little trailer. So it can get really hot in here, and then devices start to overheat, and then you got to take measures against that and all that. So it can affect our mind. It can make us a little annoyed, perhaps. Also, money. These are just some examples of things that can trigger us potentially and take our mind off of its balance if we don't have like a yoga practice, for example. So money can really stress us out. You know, maybe you lose a client, maybe they're not paying you enough, whatever it is. You know, bills come up, you got to fix something on the car like we have. Man, money can affect our mental state, so we need to fortify against that. So a couple of things that I think are really key to this whole subject is being calm and patient. Comes naturally to some people, it does to me, but not everyone. So in my personal experience, it really pays and goes a long way to consistently be calm and patient. So before I get into my main points, I just want to remind you that this podcast is now being offered to you in video format, which you can stream on Spotify, which I highly recommend. I like a lot of the features they've got on there. They're really pushing podcasts these days. That's where I'm hosting this show, actually, is on their Spotify's Anchor platform. So if you want to see the video, like I'm in my trailer right now, go on the Spotify. Links are in description. And of course on YouTube as well. I got a YouTube channel for this show where I'm posting these episodes and shorts. So every other day or so, Tracy, my wife, and I will shoot a 60-second or less short that goes up on the YouTube channel, and sort of like behind the scenes stuff in this lifestyle, how we roll. If you want to see that, subscribe on YouTube and watch the video on Spotify, or just continue listening on Apple Podcasts, rate and review, and share if you like. Okay, the main points here. What do we got? What's up first? Number 1, cultivate and listen to your intuition. That, to me, is the main one. Tapping into the power of our intuitive sense, which might be verging on something like the 6th sense. It's not any of the main primary 5 mortal senses that we have. Intuition is a very powerful guide for us. It'll steer us away from harm, away from misery, stress, worry, and lead us towards peace, safety, harmony. So we need to remember to listen to our intuition. And we all forget sometimes. We'll have sort of an intuitive thought that comes up that we should or should not do something. And then we'll ignore it and do that thing and then wish we had listened to our intuition. Remember that? So this is one of the keys to developing a winning mindset. Is it starts with inside of us in the intuition, which informs our mind. The next point for developing a winning mindset is to develop emotional intelligence. So stemming from intuition, we have emotions, and if we can unleash our emotions' natural intelligence, it can bring so much goodness and positivity into our lives, which seeps into the lives of other people as well. There's actually a book called Emotional Intelligence. It's a whole field out there. If you Google it, you might be really interested in some of the websites and books and podcasts that talk about emotional intelligence. Not everybody has it. Some people are very emotionally illiterate. You know what I mean? And so we got to work on our intuition and our emotions. And the next point I want to share with you is master your mental state. Some people just let their minds go off the leash like a dog that's out of control. Shitting on things, barking at people, making a mess of everything, right? But it kind of goes back to being calm and patient. Through mastery of our mental state, we can develop calmness and patience. Otherwise, we're going to leave ourselves vulnerable to stress, worry, anxiety, fear, and anger, and all of those negative thoughts and emotions. So we shift that state through learning how to take control of our mind and master our mental state. Comes easier to some people than others, but like everything else, repetitions. The next point is simply to be optimistic. That's something I work on. Well, all of these things are things that I work on myself all the time, but optimism, I just don't even know what else to say, because the inverse of that, to be pessimistic, like everything, that's leads to hell on earth, and I ain't about that. So more often than not, I am in an optimistic state. Well, no, you know what? Just to be fair with myself and you, I actually believe I'm optimistic all the time. Yes, I'm making sure I'm telling the truth. Yes. Or I guess I could give myself an out and say maybe 99% of the time. But anyway, always a work in progress for all of us. Optimism. The next point is practice gratitude. That's tough at first. It was for me, but it becomes easier through repetitions over the years, ever since I've been consciously practicing gratitude as a state of mind, mental mastery for the winning mindset. It's just sort of reflex. It's natural. I mean, I honestly, when the sun comes up in the morning and I see the beauty, I'm grateful for the chance to experience. And right now the sun is setting in the desert and it's very beautiful. And Tracy's in town. We have money. Our relationship's good. We have this minimalist style trailer and I'm able to share with you. I'm so grateful for it all. And so that gratitude fortifies against the negative influence of fear, hate, and evil to seep into our mind, influence our speech, and affect the other people around us, personally and professionally. So gratitude is a major key. The last point I want to share with you about succeeding as a nomadic freelancer, in my personal experience, is to try whenever possible to help other people. Because if we're talking about mindset and safeguarding against stressors in our environment, it can really go a long way to doing little things for other people every so often, whenever it feels organic and natural and in the flow. Just to do something good for your spouse or your friend or a stranger, a fellow traveler on the road. We meet so many random people. We can do lots of little good things, even a compliment to them or something. It can help shift our mindset to a state that would be adopted by a winner, is helping others. So really simple, straightforward points there that I want to share with you. And I want to recommend that you make it a priority, because it does have to be sort of prioritized, all of this stuff. Otherwise, we'll forget about it. I want to encourage you to make it a priority to develop your winning mindset. The points I shared with you are from my personal experience. They may or may not resonate with you. So it's all about developing your own personal mindset. I do believe that this is one of the keys to success for people like us who work remotely and encounter uncertainty on a daily basis. People like you and me, we have a lot of reasons to worry, but we also have a lot of reasons to be grateful for. You know, there's a lot of books out there, personal development books that you can read on the subject if you want more learning. I'm not going to use this episode for recommendations though, but there's a lot and I've read a lot. There's also a lot of inspirational podcasts that talk about mental health and personal development that you can listen to. Really easy to search for this stuff. It is learning that has to be prioritized again. So in closing, I want to remind you to check out the Q&A and poll features on Spotify to engage with me and this subject in a way to help nurture this audience of a creative community. Because one of the features on Spotify on each episode is there's a Q&A, which I fill out for each episode. I ask you a question and you can just punch in your answer there. And there's also a poll where I can give you a multiple choice. And for this episode, like every episode, I'm going in there and creating a poll and a Q&A for you to engage with the subject of this episode. And the results can be shared with this creative community, this audience for the Nomadic Freelancer podcast. So go on over to Spotify and check that out. Thanks for listening to this episode. I'm grateful for your attention. If you're getting value from this show, subscribe on Apple Podcasts and leave a review, or follow on Spotify and give it a rating there. You can also stream it right on my website at davidwhipple.com. And hey, let's make this interactive. If you have a question, send me an audio message and I'll share it in an episode to give it an answer. The link for that and everything else is in the description. So until next time, work smarter, travel lighter, and enjoy the process.